come true. There's no limit to what we can do. Turning no's to yes, leaving doubt behind, releasing the stress. We were born to shine. Welcome to season 3 of the Sade Champagne Show, where we dream, where we live the impossible. GrindHard Radio. Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Tune in at 323-693-3043. Join me with my cast: Veronica Esquivel Winters, Christina Renee, Ayakunle Falama, Rick and Melissa Wood, Michelle Morgan, and Ebony and Erica from Tulala One on YouTube. We have celebrity guests, music, entertainment, spirituality, sports, fitness, health, wellness, beauty, hot topics, education, entrepreneurship, and more. Yeah. Season 3 of the Sade Champagne Show, GrindHard Radio. Good evening, everyone. That was India Ari with Headed in the Right Direction. Welcome to the Season 3 premiere, Episode 36 of the Sade Champagne Show on GrindHard Radio. How crazy, amazing that we are on Season 3. Every episode is available on iTunes. Search the Sade Champagne Show, and you can download them for free. Also, my Sade Champagne YouTube channel is another place where you can listen to the show afterwards. Thanks to everyone for tuning in all around the globe. All episodes of my show are available at blogtalkradio.com/grindhard_radio. I've also posted a direct link to this episode on my Twitter and Facebook pages, so you can tune in at any time. Thank you to Travis Miller for creating and producing my show's theme song, and to Scott Swish for mixing it. Thanks to Kata Mafiaso for helping me to create my own new radio drop. If this is your first time listening, I'm a professional musical artist, performer, inspirational speaker, and entrepreneur. I have created, directed, and executive produced almost 300 charitable and inspirational events, including my popular Power of a Dream tour. I love mentoring, coaching, authentically being myself, and using my platform to encourage, empower, and bring out the gold in others. Tonight's Season 3 premiere includes celebrity guest appearances from published author, philanthropist, motivational speaker, TV personality, and president of Jenni Rivera Enterprises, ROSIE Rivera, and Grammy-nominated Billboard charting gospel artist, The Walls Group. ROSIE Rivera is a public figure, entrepreneur, author, philanthropist, motivational speaker, evangelist, co-star of reality shows, actress, voice, Porta Yes You Can Diet Plan, and president of Jenni Rivera Enterprises. She has more than 1.5 million followers on social media and uses her platform to be a voice to victims of sexual abuse, sex trafficking, drugs, and domestic violence. She recently starred on an episode of The T.D. Jakes Show on the Oprah Winfrey Network, bringing encouragement to millions around the world. The Walls Group has hundreds of thousands of fans around the world and is currently on their nationwide popular TWG Latitude Tour, where I had the pleasure to attend the Los Angeles concert and get an exclusive behind-the-scenes interview with the group afterwards. They're signed to Kirk Franklin's Fo Yo Soul Recordings in association with RCA Records and releasing their newest studio album this summer. Castmate Christina Renee brought a new What's Going On segment, and reoccurring controversial guest NATHAN Martell will also be on our panel for the segment. My new castmates, published author, speaker, and sports transformational coach Michelle Morgan, and models, actresses, and content creators Ebony and Erica from Tulala One on YouTube will be introducing their new segments, Mind Right, Game Tight, and Hairy Situations. I have had a blast performing at recent Relay for Life events for the American Cancer Society, which is one of my favorite charities I support throughout the year. It's been wonderful to be able to touch people through the power of music and inspirational speaking and just being there for people who are suffering or who know someone who is suffering. It's important that everyone knows that they're not alone. Also, this past week, Lisa Lewalt, Dalton Sierra, and I on our Power of a Dream tour were performing and speaking at Ventura College's Diversity Cultural Festival. This is their second annual, and that was super fun. I was able to see some fans and supporters who have been following me on social media for a while and meet some new people as well. And so we thank Ventura College for inviting us out again. And also with Friday Night Live, Ventura County's chapter, it's an amazing youth program that's anti-drug and anti-tobacco program. I have been leading their workshops around the county at middle schools for middle school and high school students, helping them to talk about topics like anti-bullying and building self-esteem, and that's been wonderful as well and very fulfilling, and I'm seeing a lot of change and transformation in these beautiful students. Me and my artists are always booking new shows and performances. We love traveling, and if you're looking to bring me, Power of a Dream Tour, or any of our award-winning, critically acclaimed artists, mentors, or speakers to your city or event, please email me at sadechampagnemusic@gmail.com. That's sadechampagnemusic@gmail.com for more details. Check out my Facebook page, Sade Champagne, to see my full schedule. Just look under events. Lastly, thank you to everyone who's been watching. You share, you subscribe to all my new videos. I'm constantly writing new pieces and creating new songs, and I'm going back into the recording studio soon with my music producers, The Quakes. And you will hear one of my songs with them tonight, my Hallelujah cover. So stay tuned in for that. To find out more about my musical journey and how you can be involved, check out GoFundMe.com/SadeChampagneMusic. That's GoFundMe.com/SadeChampagneMusic. I'm live tweeting and posting on Facebook all show long, and I want to know your thoughts. Tweet me at Sade Champagne, Facebook me at Sade Champagne, Instagram I am Sade Champagne, hashtag Sade Champagne Show or GHR to join in the conversation. Shout out to everyone who's already been tweeting me, you Facebook me, Instagram me, YouTube me, email me. Your support encourages my soul, and I'm forever grateful unto you.
Our first celebrity guest is on the line. I was recently watching the T.D. Jakes show on the Oprah Winfrey Network, and as I watched her starring on this episode, I knew that I wanted to have her be a guest on my radio show. And she is the perfect person to help us kick off our Season 3 premiere. Rosie Rivera is a public figure, businesswoman, author, philanthropist, motivational speaker, evangelist, co-star of reality shows, actress, voice of Yes You Can Diet Plan, and president of Jenni Rivera Enterprises. Rosie is the youngest of the singers known as the Rivera Dynasty. Being the little sister of the mega star Jenni Rivera, she eventually participated in the reality show I Love Jenni and courageously became a spokesperson for victims who have suffered from sexual abuse. Her life took a drastic turn in 2012, and her well-known sister died in a plane accident, leaving Rosie as an executor of her assets and guardian of the small children of the Diva de la Band. Rosie has participated as the morning program Despierta America, transmitted by Univision. In addition, its agenda continues with requests and interviews by communication in both Hispanic and the Anglo-Saxon market. Rosie is married to the leader of worship and praise, Abel Flores, with whom she has a family and 2 daughters. Currently, Rosie is active in the ministry and runs her own blog, has social networks that reach more than 1.5 million followers in combination. In addition, Rosie continues her siblings' legacy by helping single mothers in need of housing, offering accommodation and treatment centers to overcome abuse through the Jenni Rivera Love Foundation. In 2015, Rosie founded the movement Sisters Somalia with the goal of restoring and raising women who have been victims of sexual abuse, sex trafficking, drugs, and domestic violence. Her book, My Broken Pieces, Mending the Wounds from Sexual Abuse Through Faith, Family, and Love, is bringing hope and healing to survivors all around the world. Hey, Rosie, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Sade?
I'm doing fantastic. We are so glad and honored to have you on the Season 3 premiere of the Sade Champagne Show on GrindHard Radio.
I'm excited, too. I'm honored that we're kicking off this season with me.
So for those who are just getting to know you, please let everyone know how you got your start in the public eye.
Well, it happened really just because I believe that God wanted it to happen. I've always fought being in the public eye. I come from a famous family in regional Mexican music. My father is a producer, and all of my brothers are performers, and I'm the youngest of 6, and I absolutely fought it with all that I could. I wanted to be a student. I wanted to have a 9-to-5 job, and I told my father that I would never be in the public eye because it's such a difficult market, especially with, our music is more gossip than anything, and I just really wanted to avoid it. And I'm a very, very shy person. But when my sister passed away in 2012 and she left me as her trustee and executor of her estate, I couldn't avoid it. They just wanted to know everything about Jenni, and I fought it for another year. But I realized I was fighting against God. In about 2014, I just spoke with him as openly as I could about how difficult my life had become, and he let me know, the Lord let me know that it was because I was fighting his plan. And as soon as I accepted it, that I was going to be a public figure, my life became easier. I stopped fighting the Lord, and I took it in, but knowing that if I am a public figure, it's for a purpose. It's not just for pictures and fans or any fame or money. It's to have a purpose, and I learned that from Jenni.
That's really, and I think it's important, like you said, that you stop fighting what was deep within your heart, because we do need more public figures like yourself who really care about the content that they're sharing, who really care about people, who aren't just thinking to themselves, like you said, oh, let's see how popular I can get, let's see what everyone thinks about how I look, let's see how many followers and likes I have, but what am I actually doing with this platform, and how am I actually using it to share with people the love of God, to empower people in their lives, and like you always talk about, show people they're not alone.
Right, exactly. And I got this joy out of it. I mean, I still don't like being in the public eye. I'm still a little shy. I still battle a little bit with some interviews, but I feel at peace now, which is different. When you finally go with God's will and you see the purpose for your life, there's nothing more joyful than living my purpose. And it's not what I expected. I thought I would live a very calm type of life, married with children, 9 to 5, maybe ministering at my local church, but God's plan was different. And now that I'm doing it and that I am living my purpose, I'm so happy. I'm just joyful. So sometimes our plans are different than what actually happens, but it's always better. So to me, meeting one woman, meeting one young man, or any person that has gone through sexual abuse, and that my story is part of their healing process, it just gives me sheer joy. And being molested and going through rape is very traumatizing and it's very difficult, but helps me even now while I'm 35 continue to heal through it. So I feel that I'm not a survivor. I don't call myself a survivor, because to me a survivor feels like you're barely making it through, or you're constantly fighting that. I like to say that I'm thriving over sexual abuse, because I've gone to the second level of helping someone through it. I mean, you're either going through it, you're surviving, or you're thriving, and they're all different seasons, and I've been through all. But I feel that once you get to a point where it's not about your experience anymore, it's about helping someone else and lifting them up, then it's thriving. And I'm really glad to be in this stage of my life right now. And what I dream is for everyone that has gone through any type of abuse to be in the thriving stage, and let's really help each other out.
So with that's going to lead into my next question, so I don't mind jumping around a bit. What romantic advice would you give to women and young girls that you have learned over the years? And I also want you to share your story in this area and why self-image and confidence are so important.
Oh, that's amazing. That's a great topic, and when it comes to relationships, we could talk forever, but I will try to keep it short, just focusing on my healing process and the timing. I think we focus a lot on the one, and if he's the one, and if she's the one, and that's good because we should have standards and we should very, very carefully. I am very happy that I married my husband. He's an amazing man, but again, he didn't seem like the man I would marry. My whole life I dreamt of this type of man, and Abel, my husband, is very different from what I thought. But it's a good thing because he compliments me so well. And the thing is, I believe Abel and I probably got married too early. So, yes, he's the man of my life. Yes, we have a strong marriage now after being married for 5 years. But our first couple years of marriage were very, very tough. And they're tough to begin with. I believe they were tough because we got married too soon. I was too desperate to be married. So it was my mistake in saying, you know what, I'm 30, this should have happened by now, I'm tired of being alone, I'm tired of living at my mom's. So I rushed it. And I believe if we would have waited a couple years more, we would have had a better marriage. So I would advise women to never make a decision based on feelings and on being desperate. And I know that sounds weird because we're talking about love, and many people think love is a feeling, but it is not. Love comes with feelings, amazing feelings, and sometimes difficult feelings. Love is not a feeling. Love is a choice, and it's a decision that you have to make every day with your partner. So if you realize that love is a decision and that you're going to continue to make it in their worst, in their best, in the most difficult situations, again, you're going to have to choose to love every morning, I think we would slow it down because that's when marriage becomes difficult. And I made a decision based on feelings, on butterflies and excitement, and I wish I would have waited. Don't make decisions being desperate. Not with Abel. I wasn't desperate with Abel. I was desperate with my first relationship. I was so desperate to get married, and then I ended up going through domestic violence. So I wish I had just waited until I was healed. I believe sometimes we want to rush the process, and I was not healed, and I had low self-esteem, and my body image was on the floor. Like I just thought I was the ugliest person, and no one would ever want to marry me. So I literally married the first man that asked me. I mean, I didn't even like the guy. Like, not even like him, much less love him. But I thought, you know what? I'm chubby. I'm a single mom. I'm a victim of sexual abuse. Who's going to want me? So I'll just have this guy want me and marry him. And then I ended up going through domestic violence with him. So, one, don't rush it and make desperate decisions because they have long consequences. And two, don't make decisions based on feelings, whether it's what you think love is or what you think fear is, fear of being alone. And just really pray about it and take your time. It's a lifetime you have together. So if it's slowed down 6 months or a year, it's okay. I call it an investment so that then your marriage can be fruitful and long and powerful together. And that's something I really want to tell young ladies because I remember what it's like to be single. We get tired of being single, but if you're just content in every stage that you're in, your life will be better.
That's really powerful. And so do you feel like you not feeling confident in yourself and not valuing who God created you to be is what led you into your first relationship that you had that was abusive and choosing that man? You know, because I'm sure if your perspective was different in how you felt about yourself and knowing how God valued you, you know, not to say that we live in regrets because I know we don't want to live in regrets, but for other young women and girls that are listening, even guys that are listening, you know, how they see themselves and how they believe that God feels about them will directly impact their choices and how they see life.
Exactly. That is exactly it. I know that if I would have had a higher self-esteem, an esteem of myself and of God, if I had known my value, if I had really known my value when I was in my single stage, if I was 23, 24, I would have not even gotten into this relationship because I began a relationship not loving myself and just yearning for love, just thirsty for love, no matter where it came from. And that got me in trouble. Because later I couldn't leave the relationship. I saw myself married all of a sudden, and then I couldn't leave the marriage. Even when he was abusing me physically, psychologically, verbally, couldn't get out, because even then I thought, well, who's going to love me? You know, and you just go deeper and deeper. So my fear of not being loved, the root was my low self-esteem. And not knowing how much God truly loved me. Once you know how much God loves you, you just accept yourself as you are. We're never going to be perfect. We're never going to be as skinny as we want or as tall as we want. But you just learn to love yourself for who you are, personality and everything. And that's where I am now. And because I do love myself, I can love Abel truly. I can really love him for who he is and not expect him to change and not bring my crazy expectations into a relationship. And just loving someone for who they really are is so fulfilling, with his defects and his virtues and everything. And he loves me that way. And it took hard lessons to get here. So, you know, if these young women and men, if we could all be wise and just learn to get to the foundation first. Your foundation should be loving yourself and before you love others, and knowing your value, and that our value comes from God, not from anything, not from the outside, but from within us and what God has done for us. Then every relationship, not only your marriage, I mean the relationship with your parents, with your children, with your cousins, with society as a whole will be better.
That's powerful. And so with you being a thriver, not a survivor, a thriver of someone who has experienced sexual abuse, who has experienced trauma in your life, share with us, when did that start? And also encouragement and wisdom that you could give to other thrivers as well. You know, because I've been through a lot in my life, and I've experienced, you know, that type of abuse as well in my childhood. And people are always shocked when I speak to them, when they interact with me, when I mentor. They're shocked that was my experiences, because to them it doesn't look like I carry those things from my childhood and any traumas or experiences from my life. And obviously it is so tough, and you feel those things that you've been through. But I'd like to encourage you to share your story and also some words of encouragement, because there's a lot of people, as we know, who they stay in that place. And obviously, rightfully so, it's understandable, you know, because it's very traumatic, those things that happen to us, you know, but to just speak life to them and know that they're not alone, and, you know, and just to share what you'd like to share on this matter.
Well, thank you. First, I commend you, because you're absolutely right. Your personality, your aura is so peaceful and kind and sweet that I would have never imagined that you went through that. And that lets me know that you are at a healing, at a place in your life where you've gone through the healing. Now, for me, it took 18 years. I was abused at the age of 8, and I did not begin my healing process truthfully until about 18 years later. And it happened when the Lord saved me. And first of all, I surrendered everything to him. But mostly what I had to surrender, me personally, was my anger. I was very angry. I was angry that the sexual abuse happened. I was angry that he was abusive for 9 years. I was angry at so much. Anger is a feeling, and it is a valid feeling, but when we take it too far, when we hold on to it, when we take actions in anger, then it becomes damaging to everyone around you and to yourself. And I damaged myself for so long that my sexual abuse, or the sexual abuse, ended when I was 11, but the effects continued, till I was 25. And some were his fault, the abuser's fault, but others were my fault. And when you're angry, you can't even begin to take responsibility for things that are by you. You think everything is everyone else's fault. So for young women and young men and children and even adults that are going through the healing process, love your process. Honor your process. It's not like everyone else's. It won't be like Rosie's. It won't be like Sade's. It's your own healing process. Honor it. Don't rush it. Don't hate it. Yes, it's difficult, but it will take you to a better place. Yes, you will have times of intense feelings, but it will take you to a better place. And don't try and make it like anybody else's. You are your own person. Your experience is unique, although we've all been through some type of abuse. Your experience is still unique. Honor it like that, and love yourself through it in every state. Also, have to get to a point where you accept your story and you own it for what it is, for the good and the bad and the ugly that it is. You own your story. Then you can start to go through it as if you're reading a book, as if you're dissecting another story, and you just own it. And my story is mine, and it's not beautiful, and it's not gorgeous, and it's not a fairy tale story, but it is mine, and I have learned to love it because I'm still standing. So when you get to that point, you can acknowledge the good things, because every story has good. See the good that has happened. You're alive. You're standing. There's hope. There's always hope for you. And when my healing process changed, I remember the moment exactly, because I had began it with the Lord. I had started to speak up, which is a huge step in healing, is being able to talk about your story, even if it's to a stranger, even if it's to a hotline. I got to a point where I could only write about it. I just began writing about my story, and then I'd rip it up, or no one would read it. The important thing is getting it out of you, because once it's out of you, all those bad feelings that I call throwing up, once you throw them up, then you can be filled with emotions. But if you're full of anger, there's room for peace. If you're full of just deep, deep sorrow, where is there room for joy? So just throw it up some way. Talk to your pastor. Talk to a friend. Just to get it out of you, but also make time to put things in you, like good things in you. So that was part of my healing process. But the main moment when I knew that I was starting to heal, that I started to find joy in my healing process, was when I asked God, who would I be had it not happened? I thought that little girl, that 8-year-old little girl was dead, that I would never see her, that I would never find her. And I realized that that's why I was angry, because I would never get to see who Rosie would have been had not. But the Lord told me that I was seeing it in the wrong way, that there was an 18-year gap where it was a little bit of a detour, but even then he would make those 18 years work for good if I only entrusted him with my story, with my life, and I would see that girl again. And I did. I saw her, and I saw her in ways that I didn't imagine, but I'm becoming the woman I would have still been. And that is what's so good about God, that there will be detours in our life, but he will always get us back to who he had purposed us to live. So I'm not supposed to be an angry girl. Maybe I'm not supposed to be a sweet, sweet girl like I wish I could be, but even then I'm learning to love me. I am kind, but I am strong. I am fierce, but I am loving. And I'm starting to see her, and I am no longer a product of sexual abuse. I am the woman God purposed me to be. So once you get to that point, you start to enjoy who you are. I still have a strong character, but God likes it. I start to like it once I have it like defined and in control. So I pray for all you women to get to that point, to get to the point of asking God, who would I have been had not, and I want to be her. And then you start working toward it. You really start seeing who that woman was, and you work toward it, and then you will find this joy. Why? Because they didn't steal anything from you anymore. What you thought they stole from your innocence and your childhood, it is given back to you, and that is how I have been redeemed. Because I'm a girl that has a torquey personality, and I've discovered all this in my healing process, and I've really learned to love myself. So that's what I pray that you all get to, but you have to start somewhere. Wherever you are in your process, if you're still being a victim now, you can begin the process now by moving out, by getting out of the situation, and that sometimes takes the biggest step of speaking up, of moving away from everything you've ever known, of letting go of the fear, or even more, fighting through the fear and becoming courageous. And then if you're a survivor, great, I commend you. And you can continue your healing process by moving toward becoming a thriver. But you have to continue the process. Sometimes the mistake that we make is stopping the process, is backing away, is is leaving the healing process because it gets too tough. And to say is, you can take breaks, but quitting is not an option. Go ahead, take a break. Stop reading the book, or stop seeing your therapist for a little bit, or stop seeing your counselor or whoever you're seeing for a little bit, but give it a time. I'm not going to see my counselor for a week just because I'm overwhelmed with the throwing up process, but then come right back and continue the process because it gets better. It gets really, really good. And I really want you to see the woman, the child, the man that you were going to be had it not happened. And I know you're going to get there. Don't give up. It's going to get great.
Amen. And I think it's very important for our listeners to understand and take in the facts. She said so many great quote-worthy moments, and I'm almost in tears myself because we can relate and we can understand, and just to feel that joy and that peace, and even in the pain. We want to encourage you that even in your pain and what you're experiencing, that God will meet you every single time, and He's already there in your pain to be able to bring healing to you in that area. So we don't have to feel afraid to feel pain, because God is right there with us, experiencing with us, and will bring healing. And also, it's really powerful, Rosie was sharing, is that your life will be restored. It is still possible. It doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't matter how long it's been. Your life can still be restored, and you can walk in the peace of who you are and discover those years that you thought you lost and that child in you thought you lost, even if it happened as an adult. And so that's really, really powerful, Rosie, and I thank you so much for sharing that. And it really definitely touched my heart, and I know it's touching our listeners as well.
Thank you. I'm telling you, I never thought I'd tell this story. I promised myself at 8 years old that I would never, ever tell this story. And sometimes we make vows, again, based on emotion, based on feelings. But one day the Lord told me, if you don't speak about it, who will? I've put you in a place where you can speak about it to help others, and now I believe we can all do it. We don't have to be famous. We don't have to be someone's famous sister. We can just be in our community, speaking about it and lifting up other people, because it's the statistics are there. It's 1 in 7 that are sexually abused, 1 in 4 young women or ladies that will be sexually harassed or abused before they reach the age of 18. So someone, we know someone. We're just not talking about it. And I truly believe that the strongest weapon, because the abuser or the adversary has many weapons, and but I believe the strongest weapon are silence. Once we start speaking up, they're not going to mess with us anymore. They're going to say, they're speaking up, I'm going to get caught, I'm going to go to jail, everyone's going to know, and I'm going to go through shame. So if they would just know that we'd speak up, I know the statistics would change, and that's my goal. But I just commend you and encourage you to go through the process and speak up about it, even if you have to write about it. But once we start voicing this, I know that we will be able to help other people, especially our younger generations, this and more.
Exactly. And so I have a big feeling that this is what your brand new book, My Broken Pieces, Mending the Wounds from Sexual Abuse Through Faith, Family, and Love are about. And so can you share with our audience where they can purchase the book?
Oh, yes. That's the story of my book. It's full of many things. It's mostly my healing story and what God has done through me using faith, love, and family. And you can find it at Target, at Walmart, at Amazon. It's available on ebook, and also my website, RosieRivera.com. I'll sign it for you and get it out to you as soon as possible. I pray over everyone that reads the book. I just really pray that it helps you in your healing process. There are many great resources. Joyce Meyer has amazing books. There are just tons of books. But if my book can be a little piece of your healing process, it would just bring me sheer joy. So RosieRivera.com or Walmart, Amazon, Target, you'll find it there.
Definitely. And tell us about your Sister Somalia ministry and how people can get involved and how they can donate and support your charitable and nonprofit ministry work.
Yes, this is all nonprofit, and my goal, my dream is to be able to get free counseling for women, men, kids, because it helps me so much. But it is pricey, and sometimes In our communities, it's difficult. So I pray that Sister Somalia can grow to a point where we just give free counseling all over the world. Sister Somalia is what my sister used to call me, and my sister, even though it was her husband that sexually abused me, she was the one that told me to speak up. She held my hand through it when we were first reporting it to the police, and it was one of the most difficult experiences to tell this police officer in detail what had happened to me. It was very difficult, but she held my hand, literally. I was 16, and I still needed someone to hold my hand, and that is what Sister Somalia is about. My sister is in heaven, but now I have other sisters where we hold our hands and help tell each other's story. And they're all over the world. They're in Venezuela. They're in Mexico. They're in Costa Rica. They're in Miami. They're in New York. They're in Chicago. We have women in all different areas. And what we do is through WhatsApp, through email, through social media, we hold each other's hand when we have to tell a difficult story. We hear each other out. If we have good advice, we give it. And if we don't, it's okay. We pray for each other. We guide each other to the resources in different cities. We have women that have been through different experiences that can just help another woman. We are not professionals, but we are friends and we are sisters and we love each other. And sometimes having that one hand to hold makes a world of a difference. So you can get involved by following our social media. We have a Twitter, we have a Facebook, we have an Instagram, and it's called Sisters Somalia, Somalia with an A, Samalia. And also you can email us directly. I sometimes answer some emails, or the team answers emails, and it's sistersomalia@gmail.com. It's the easiest way to get a hold of us. We will guide you to someone that can help professionally or just a friend. So sistersomalia@gmail.com.
Wonderful. And lastly, when are you speaking next? And please tell everyone about your current projects and what you have coming up next.
Me personally, I am very excited that we are going to start our own reality show. Again, that's something that I never thought I would do, but that I do believe God is using to just for people to see how normal I am. You know, whether you're a minister or not, or whether you've been through sexual abuse or not, we are just normal, common people, and I want people to see that, to identify with us, so that they could also identify with our healing. So, my mother and I are starting a reality show. We're very excited. It'll be the end of this year on NBC Universal. I'm also working on my second book. It's about peace, which is a very, very important part of the healing process. Finally having peace with myself, with God, with others, and I'm continuing my vlog where I just give word of encouragement every day, like a small devotional, but video. So you can find those on ROSIERIVERA.com. Honestly, I want to travel the world uplifting women. That is my goal. That is my purpose. That is what I was made for. And I'm ministering, but not only in churches. I think it's important to be outside of those walls also. So I go to jails. I go to juvenile camps. I go to high schools. If it's one person or 3,000, I'm going to speak about healing. And that's what I do, and I'm so excited. I think I'm finally at a place where I was always supposed to be, and I really pray that I meet more women to help them along their process. So there's more to come. God always has more for us to do, and I'm happily other women get through abuse.
Definitely. Well, we want to thank you so much, Rosie, for being with us this evening, and we appreciate your time and who you are. Everyone, make sure you go to ROSIERIVERA.com, and that's the best place to be able to stay updated with her speaking engagements, to get involved with her Sister Somalia Ministries and charity work, and also to purchase her book, My Broken Pieces, Mending the Wounds from Sexual Abuse Through Faith, Family, and Love. And so I look forward to working with you and supporting you more and more.
Thank you so much, Sade Champagne. Thank you so much for having me, and all your listeners. I pray you are blessed.
Are you looking for a dynamic musical artist, performer, host, or inspirational speaker for your next event? What about a mentor, vocal instructor, or workshop leader for your school, company, or seminar? Contact Sade Champagne for countless professional services that are sure to fit your particular need. She is an in-demand, award-winning, and critically acclaimed musical artist, performer, inspirational speaker, and entrepreneur who is invited all around the world. She is known for having a powerful voice, turning ideas into action, creating, directing, and executive producing popular charitable and inspirational events, and bringing out the gold in others. Her services are for all ages, backgrounds, and environments. Contact Sade Champagne at SadeChampagneMusic@gmail.com. That's SadeChampagneMusic@gmail.com to book her for your next event or project.
Beautiful people. See, this is why I don't sing on the show. Hey, guys, this is Christina Renee from the What's Going On segment on the Sade Champagne Show, and you're listening to GrindHard Radio.
Welcome back to the Season 3 premiere of the Sade Champagne Show on GrindHard Radio. Tonight, we are getting ready for our What's Going On with Christina Renee segment, and on the panel we have multi-threat artist, host, producer, model, and designer Christina Renee, who actually leads this segment, and reoccurring special guest NATHAN MARTELL. He is the owner of Efficacy Clothing, which is efficacyclothing.co, and the marketing manager for bedstew.com shoes, and the host of Nathan Martell is Stupid podcast. Go to NathanMartellIsStupid.com to check it out. And Christina's only going to be joining us for the first couple episodes this season because she is pregnant right now with a beautiful baby that I don't know if she has announced the gender yet, but so we're only having her on the beginning of the season. And so how are you guys doing tonight?
We are great.
Awesome. And Christina Renee, how are you doing?
Did we lose Christina?
Christina, we got you in here. Are you on? We're going to see if we can get her into the show.
I am here. I am here.
Okay,
there we go.
There she is.
I was waiting for my helicopter to land.
Awesome. So first off, really quickly, I want to get into these juicy topics, but first, how are you guys doing tonight?
Amazing,
I'm
of course.
doing well.
Awesome. So, Christina, what's the first topic you have for us tonight?
The first topic that I wanted to discuss was actually something that happened this past weekend with the so-called Facebook killer. You might know him better by Steve Stevens. So I'm going to actually refer to him as Steve Stevens, not the Facebook killer, because it's not like he was going around killing people off of Facebook. He was, on Facebook Live. But basically he was a 37-year-old male from Cleveland, Ohio, who had been depressed and homicidal for time, according to his rants during his live Facebook cast. He also claimed that he had told his girlfriend, Joy Lane, and his mother he felt like killing people, but neither of them had taken him seriously. In one of Stevens' Facebook videos, he proclaimed he had lost everything due to gambling. In one of his videos, he said, "This past year has been really blanked up for me. Being with Joy, she drove me crazy, started making me gamble. I lost everything." He said in one of the videos on his Facebook page on Sunday that he had lost everything he had and that he's running out of options, and now he's just on some murder type blank. He went on to say Joy had been reported that she basically was to blame for his actions he was about to partake in. But that Friday, he had went to the casino, and it was uploaded a picture of him being at a casino about 2 hours away from his Cleveland home, and he had been there gambling all night. And then Sunday, that's when he started the live Facebook feed of himself rambling and snapping about him going to find some people to kill. He did work at a mental health facility, and some people believe that could have been a reason he snapped, but also about his 3-year relationship. Then girlfriend Joy Lane took him over the edge, I guess, which we don't know anything about their relationship, so I'm not going to blame it on her. But, he got on Facebook Live. He started to drive. He started to ramble. He started to approach this elderly man, and he said he found somebody. I'm about to kill this old dude. He then got out of his car. He did take his phone with him. You can see everything on Facebook Live video. He walked up to the old man, and and basically told him, do you know Joy Lane? He was like, no. He was like, say Joy Lane. And he was like, Joy Lane? Who's Joy Lane? And he said, she's the reason this is about to happen to you. And that's when he pointed the gun at Robert Godwin Sr. and shot him in the head and killed him. It was on Easter Sunday, the Sunday. He then got back into his car and proceeded to drive on, saying he just snapped, and he said he was going to keep killing until they catch me, referring to the police, and that he shamed himself. He then proceeded to list a phone number, which we don't know if it was his real phone number or not, and said that he was going to keep killing until either his girlfriend, Joy Lane, or his mother had called him. The poor elderly man that was shot live and killed on video was Robert Godwin Sr. He was 74 from Cleveland, Ohio. He was a grandfather, father, husband, and brother. And this manhunt for Steve Stevens went on for 3 days until McDonald's employees spotted him at their Erie, Pennsylvania location McDonald's drive-thru and called the police, which then led to a chase, which ended in Steve Stevens shooting and killing himself. Quite a eventful weekend into this week, but yes. I chose this as a topic because I think that we should definitely be taking depression and homicidal threats seriously, because this possibly could have been prevented. Maybe we are unsure, because a lot of people that are depressed and homicidal, they keep those things to themselves. So a lot of times you don't know until it's too late. But
yeah, so I got a little interesting perspective on this. So I recently did a show with my co-host. I don't know if you guys know, but on my show, my co-host is a therapist, is a doctor, and this is specifically what she does. And it's funny that you bring up the depression concept, because everybody's trying to figure out how do you tackle depression. Well, the interesting thing is she said roughly by the year 2020 that depression won't actually be a mental illness anymore, because the majority of the population will now have it. Because what's considered a mental illness is basically only determined by a small percentage of the population doing it. Once a large enough percentage of the population has some sort of whatever you want to call it, it's no longer called a mental illness. So if we're looking to try to figure out a way to fight depression and stuff like that, well, the numbers are going to be catastrophic, expected to explode over the next 20 years. So I wouldn't say that's like a great topic to go after in general. So it's pretty expected that depression will be almost the majority of people in this country will clinically be depressed in the next 20 years. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the first thought I came to my mind was that his ex-girlfriend dodged a bullet, like literally, because how many stories do we hear of where the woman doesn't, she stays, and God forbid you have a situation like the football player where he knocked his fiancée out in the elevator, and it's like, how does it get to that point? You know what I mean? It's like, so she dodged a bullet for sure, because that could have been, obviously I was sad for the older man that happened to, and he should have never happened to him, but it also could have easily happened to the girl. And so there was something that clicked in her, I'm going to call it wisdom, that she was like, I need to get out of this relationship.
And unfortunately, here's a scary thing. These, in my opinion, these types of things are only going to happen more and more and more, because what's happening right now with social media, everybody's trying to one-up everybody. I was recently talking to her on this exact same topic, and she was talking about how there's all these basically chat groups online for people that are suicidal, and it's actually increasing the amount of suicides because everybody's just talking to each other, depressing each other, and then everybody's trying to one-up each other because nobody looks unique anymore, so they're trying to one-up everybody else in those groups. And then it's just getting worse. So Facebook's going to have a serious issue on their hands, because this has already happened, this is probably going to become something that's reoccurring now, because everybody's just going to try to one-up it, because just doing something, a lot of these people are doing things for attention. And to get attention in the social media age requires you to get more and more extreme every single time. So I don't have a solution, unfortunately, to this one, but I think you're going to see some major crackdowns from Facebook, and maybe even looking at, they might have to eventually eliminate the Facebook Live option because of this stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to do something, because it's like, I feel like if you already, like, people are, I don't know who is behind all this stuff on Facebook, but all the money they make, there has to be people that are constantly looking at what's being posted or things that are happening live throughout the day, where if they see something that's like a red flag, they automatically need to be able to alert the authorities and shut it down. Like, I don't understand how we can be having all these videos of people posting suicidal things, people getting in fights, people, sexual abuse, all these things, and they're not doing anything. Like, that to me just sounds absolutely crazy. Forget freedom of speech or freedom of whatever. It's like, that doesn't
eventually his Facebook page and video was eventually shut down, but it's the fact of, whoever is being contacted at Facebook, they have to investigate, and then they have to go through the process of the IT to take the page down, to take the videos down, the links and so on. But I did see that the video was duplicated, because I did end up watching the video through another source. I believe it was someone had posted it to Instagram I wanted to see if it was true, because it was just circulating that this guy just shot this other man. But I do agree with Nathan. I think it's just for attention. And if Facebook did take it down, then it could be a good thing, because everyone used to tune into like live stream and stuff like that to watch blog posts and blog talks and stuff like that at the time. But you would have to know what you were watching or logging onto the website to find something to watch. But I believe Facebook is trying to do this massive takeover. So eventually I think they're trying to get to the point to where it's sort of like a television, but it's not. Maybe they're going to possibly start doing those kinds of deals in the future, to where they're going to start making maybe videos, news channels, stuff sort of like Amazon and Netflix did. And this is just the beginning of it.
Yeah, it's a little unrelated, but it's very relevant at the same time. The biggest push in the social media world for this year is everything that is moving to what's live short-term content. So every social network is set up to basically go live. That is where the future is headed, because we're all headed towards virtual reality. And the reality is, you got a billion Facebook users. You don't know when any of them are going to use it. You have no idea how they're going to use it. There's no way to track any of this. To be able to monitor that, there's simply just not enough manpower. The technology way overpowers the ability to monitor it. So I don't have any clue how they would be able to monitor this.
But you don't think they could create you don't think they could create a robot or something that could do it?
Well, you would have to have some sort of artificial intelligence that is able to perceive what's going on in the video and make a decision based on what it's viewing, whether it's right or wrong. Computers and technology can't do that.
That's human emotion. Yeah.
Yeah, that's artificial intelligence, and we're not there yet. So it's like anything we're talking, the fake news, all this stuff. The reason they can't get rid of it is because it's all opinion based.
It's not monitored. Yes.
Yeah, there's no way to monitor any of this. So, unfortunately, we're living in a complete chaos system that we're just kind of hoping everybody plays nice in.
Yeah. To our listeners who are listening in, we're going to try to take a couple of your calls towards the end of this segment. So if you have any comments that you'd like to make on any of these topics we're going to be talking about, just make sure you press 1 so I can see that you we can bring you into the show towards the end of this segment, and you can share with us your thoughts on what we're talking about. All right, so Christina, any final thoughts on this topic, or do you want to have Nathan go into our second topic?
I just have one final thing. If you hear anyone close to you, whether they're a family member, friend, or stranger, please take them seriously if they say that they feel like killing people, therefore they're homicidal, or if they say they're definitely depressed to where they want to hurt themselves or others. Please take them seriously, because you might be saving other people and the person that you love.
Sade, can I say one thing real quick?
Sure.
Can I say one thing real quick? This is pretty good timing. This is a push for me, on the Nathan Martell is Stupid podcast. Tomorrow, we're actually releasing the episode on suicide, where our co-host actually gives the real-world symptoms, what to look for, and how to handle it. She gives a step-by-step guide, so that's pretty convenient how this turned out.
Yeah. So make sure you all tune into that. And Christina is right. Like, you don't take that stuff as a joke. Like, I never play around with that, whether I see students I've mentored or spoken to posting on their social media or someone I'm talking to, I always take it seriously. And so even if I hear them even talking about hurting themselves, that's it. Like, don't take it as a joke, everyone. You may feel like, oh, my gosh, what are they going to think about me? Who cares? The most important thing is that you can be able to hopefully save their lives and save other people's lives who will be affected by their choices.
Yes, I agree.
Agreed.
Right. So, Nathan, what's the second topic that you'd like to talk about tonight?
All right, this is going to be a fun one, and I have a leeway question that I'm going to go into afterwards, and I want to get your ladies' opinions. And I also, if anybody's listening, I want them to call in and give their opinion on this too. So the other day there was a protest in Berkeley, California, and if you're not familiar with Berkeley, California, it is a very, very left-wing liberal city, probably the most liberal left-wing city in the country. Now, a pro-Trump group came out to do a protest and in Berkeley, not their best territory. And a counter-protest ensued from the opposing side. And what came out of it was brawls, fights. It was pretty extreme. I recommend anybody look at it. It got pretty violent. But what had happened was, in the midst of all this, a girl that was on the anti-Trump side got blasted in the face by a right hook from some guy who was on the other side, and basically sent her to the hospital, and it became a nationwide controversy on whether this is right or wrong because a guy hit a girl. So the question I am posing to everybody on each side, though, is if you are in that situation where you're in a protesting that gets violent, does the person, if they're getting involved in it, have the right to say, hey, leave me out of this because I'm a girl? Or is her getting punched in that scenario truly the definition of equality, since she got up there and she's wanting to play with the big dogs? Which one is it?
Ooh, that's deep. That's deep, Nathan. You always bring up the most deep topics.
No, but it's a serious question. I heard people saying, oh, my gosh, how could he hit her? She went out there and she posted on her Facebook that she was looking to get violent, and she got in the middle of it. And then when she got in the middle of it, she got knocked out. So
she practiced that over herself.
Yeah.
She did.
So, it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. Oh, no.
I did watch the video, and if you are afraid of violence, you're not going to run into it. She definitely was running into where they were fighting and not running away from it. It would have been different to me if she was running away from it and maybe someone had grabbed her by her dreads and pulled her back into the crowd and fought her. But she definitely was running into the crowd where they were fighting. So whether you're male or female, if you run into a fight, you're going to get punched by somebody, whether it's another female or a male.
And I agree, and I don't think there's any scenario where it's appropriate for a guy to hit a girl. I really don't. But what I like to say too is, if you play stupid games, you're going to get stupid prizes. And in that case, she got a nice prize right to her face because she did something stupid there.
Yeah.
So
I felt like she was looking for it, like you said, Nathan. If you go out looking for trouble, it's going to find you.
Yeah, and I mean, she did, and it does bother me a little bit when she goes out with this, because she's a hardcore feminist. She's vocal about it, but don't get up in this like equality feminist thing looking for a fight, and then when a fight comes to you, say, oh no, don't hit me because I'm a girl.
Yeah,
like you can't have it both ways. You got to pick one.
I feel like that's something in our society anyways, is that people will say they want equality, but really I don't know if they know what actually all of that means. Like, obviously, in theory, we should all be treated equally, but if that's the case, then that means women shouldn't get maternity leave. That means they shouldn't get certain things. Instead, they should say we want special benefits instead of saying we want to be treated equal. And I know what they mean in certain cases. Like, yes, if a woman is doing the same job as a man, she should get paid the same. I definitely agree with that. But we just have to be honest. In other ways, it's just not going to be, quote-unquote, fair or equal according to the world standards, because we do have to say, like, if you're going to believe that truth, you have to take that truth all the way to the end. You know what I mean? Like, I can't just make that truth benefit me at that time. Obviously, do I think she should have got punched? No. But would I would have been out there during a violent part and I know people are going to get crazy? No. You know what I mean? So it's like I would be the kind of person where if it's absolutely necessary to get violent, I would just defend myself to get someone off me, but I would never intentionally go looking for violence. You know, and I personally am not a feminist. I'm a equalist in the sense of I want to love and value everyone the same. You know what I mean? So for me, I'm not a feminist, so I can't relate to that. And then I know someone's going to say, well, what does that mean? It means just what I said. I can be about girl power, but not be, wanting to isolate men. So, I think that's a tough thing. I definitely would not have gone into that situation. There's no way.
Yeah, and I mean, it's pretty interesting that, the whole place was a gigantic fight. So if you watch all the videos, everybody's fighting, but there's only one scene we focus on. Only one of those people fighting is the one we focus on. And why is that? Because it was a guy and a girl. That's the only reason it got any press whatsoever. So if that girl wanted true equality, she technically did get it. Technically, she got true equality because the dude was doing what he was doing to the guys, did it right back to her.
Yeah.
So, once again, that is me not condoning women hitting a woman, by the way. So don't get the wrong idea.
I don't condone hitting a woman, but a woman should never go into battle thinking that protected by this barrier because of her gender if you're choosing the battle. That's not something that really happens. But I am sad that she claims that she was receiving like death threats and rape threats and stuff like that. But I mean, any kind of confrontations or conflictions between people, they're going to take it to the extreme. So those things are known to surface during arguments between people. So I hope that she stays safe out there, and hopefully she doesn't go back into this craziness of protesting.
Yeah. I'm starting to feel like these political parties or these groups are like two sides of the same coin, because one side will say we're fighting for this, but at the end of the day, they both end up physically fighting and being violent. So how can they actually be making a difference? I feel like they're doing the same thing. They're like, you're bullying us and we won't stand for it, but then they go and bully the other side. So I'm like, really, you guys are just as wrong as the other side. I want to take a call right now. We do have people listening in. If you want to give your comments on one of these two topics, just press 1 so I can bring you into the studio. And we'd like to hear your thoughts before we go into Christina's last topic. So there's someone who's been listening in, area code 703. It looks like you would like to chat. If not, then don't answer when I bring you into the show right now. All right, area code 703, I'm bringing you in. Hello? Hello? Hello?
She didn't want to chat.
All right, so I guess they just want to listen in, okay, because they had a little question mark next to them. So usually the question mark is because they pressed 1, but they could have done that accidentally. All right, anyone else listening in, if you have any comments that you want to share with us, any questions about these topics, we'd love to hear what you want to say. All right, so while we're listening, do you guys have any final thoughts about these topics, or would you like to go into your final topic, Christina?
If Nathan has any conclusions for his topic, I'd like to go introduce him to go ahead for the conclusion, and we'll go into the next topic.
Yeah, I'm gonna give a statement right now that is revolutionary pertaining to what we just talked about. Actions have consequences. That's it.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's my revolutionary statement right there.
That sounded like a little of science law as well. Action creates a reaction.
It's basically just what we used to refer to as common sense. That's what we used to call it. Something that we don't have in 2017.
Well, that's the thing is you talk about this all the time, Nathan. When you involve social media with everything, with people not having a conscience, or they're coming with their own insecurities and traumas and just insecurity, it's like it's a recipe for a hot mess. You know what I mean? Because even if someone says, "Oh, they're just for attention," that's still I would categorize that as some type of mental health issue, because like what is your attention seeking gonna drive you to do? You know? So I don't know.
Everybody's tough behind the keyboard.
Ooh, that's a good one because it's 100% accurate.
Yeah, that's the worst. That's the worst thing about the internet is it lets everybody think they're a tough guy, including myself.
Yeah. But
we can let Renee go on the last one. Yeah.
All right, since we're ready for the last one, I'm going to sweeten these topics up a little bit by talking about sugar. And I'm bringing this topic up because, you know, it is getting closer to summer. Everybody's trying to get that summer body once again. But I want to discuss sugar because it's more than just getting the summer body. I believe that's why a lot of us are obese or unhealthy. You can also be very thin and unhealthy as well. And I believe it's because of the overconsumption of sugars. We have it in our foods, our drinks, and then we even add it to our foods and drinks, even if it's already been added for us. And it's just really getting out of hand if you look at, like, studies, how much sugar used to be in things like a decade ago or 40 years ago. It's, like, doubled and tripled now. There was a study by the American Heart Association that said an estimated 184,000 Americans die annually as a result of overconsumption of just sugary drinks alone. Just sugary drinks alone. Sugar isn't just empty calories, but it's a catalyst for health problems when it's overconsumed. A decade ago, the daily intake was only about 22 teaspoons of sugar daily, and I was reading into I think it was England or Great Britain, the new average for them was 238 teaspoons a week. The study conducted on rats showed similar signs to drug addiction and withdrawal symptoms once taken off sugar, and it's a known fact that sugar creates or stimulates the dopamine, and it also inhibits the cycle production, which is why it creates the need for more and more, thus becoming dependent on it. Like your brain ends up becoming dependent on it. Do you guys ever remember, like, taking your first bite out of something sweet, whether it's candy or cake or just something that, you know, that's sugary, and thinking it was too sweet and you had to develop a tolerance for it? Do you guys remember that when you were young, like taking your first bite out of a certain candy bar or a cake? And now you tolerate it because you're used to eating it. But what your body was telling you during that first thing is, don't eat this. It's too sweet. But now we've developed this tolerance for it.
It tastes so good. But it tastes so good.
I will say this. I have a slight Pepsi addiction. When I drink a cup of Pepsi, no matter what kind of day I'm having, I feel like I'm so relaxed. I actually can go to sleep. Like something, I believe it's the sugar, because I didn't realize that Pepsi had so many grams. I mean, it was up there, like 86 grams of sugar per serving. I was like, oh, my gosh, no wonder it just knocks me out. It's like sugar overload to the brain, but it's really getting out of hand. And then I wanted to share with you guys and the viewers just some of the things that we might drink or eat daily, that how much sugar it has. Because did you know even oats and different pastas have sugar? Like everything has sugar.
Well, technically every carbohydrate breaks down into sugar in your system, technically. But what you're talking about, I think you're talking about raw and white processed sugars. That's what I think you're referring to. But it's a twofold process, actually. We eat more sugar because we have a lot more access to chemical eating than we did ever in history, because basically everything we eat today is chemicals. And then second of all, I don't even have to go drive to go get that sugary food. I can have somebody deliver it to me now. So we have one aspect where we eat all this crap, and then the other aspect where we don't even have to get out of bed to get it anymore. So we're not doing exercise, and we're over-consuming. So it's a double problem, which is why, like you said, we're just getting fatter and fatter and fatter.
I did not realize this, but I don't know if anyone saw today, everyone was posting those Starbucks unicorn drinks, and I was reading an article about indulging that Starbucks drink can actually contain 25 teaspoons of sugar, which is 3 times more than a Coke.
Yep, it has the same sugar equivalency as 3 Snicker bars. It's got 80 grams of sugar in that sucker. It's pretty impressive how much. Yep, I looked it up earlier today. But it's so pretty. It's pretty. That's all that matters.
I think that, for me, I think for me personally, it's been years now, because I'm definitely much more into holistic health and wellness and fitness. But for me, it's been years since I've eaten a lot of processed sugar. Like, there's just certain things, like I don't diet, but when you have a diet or like a nutrition plan, there's things I don't have in there just because I just don't eat them. Like, I don't drink soda, I don't drink juices, I don't drink those sugary coffee drinks. I don't actually even drink coffee or caffeine. And even when it comes like cookies and certain things, I have like an organic vegan baker that I go to once a week for like a few goodies. And usually the kind of sweets that I would eat now is either like organic or some type of vegan things, and it's only a small amount at that time, and I have to go out and get it. So then I know if I really want it or not. Because a lot of people, they don't even think about what they're eating. They just put it into their mouth, and they don't even think, do I want this? Do I actually enjoy this? Like, they just will just consume it. And for me, I want to really actually enjoy the food experience. And so there's a lot of stuff that I just naturally cut out, because I remember I used to eat a lot of those things. Like, I used to eat a lot of fast food. I used to drink a lot of the icy drinks. I drank the like coffee bean Starbucks like cold drinks, but then it's like empty calories, and after that I'm not even feeling full. It's like I might as well, if anything, I'll eat more fruit. I'll find different types of substitutions of things that I can enjoy. And like I said, I don't eat like even some of the famous like cupcake places and stuff. I don't eat those either. It's like if I eat them now, I have to barely share one with someone and eat like a quarter piece of it because it's too sweet to me now. It's like, and so I feel like your taste buds can change over time, and I feel like because of that, I do have a lot better energy. My skin is better. My hair is healthier. I just feel a lot better. And like I said, I'm not into that sugary, like candy type stuff. But one of my besties, which you all would know, Lisa Lewalt, she loves her some sugar. Like, it's amazing she looks the way that she does. It's amazing that she looks how she does. It's literally the grace of God, because she can, like, if she were to go in a candy store right now, all the sugary green little things that you talked about, the McFlurries and stuff, she would have a ball.
Even something as simple as like an apple juice. Let's just say a Minute Maid 100% apple juice, the small little bottle that you can buy. It has 49 grams of sugar in it, which is equivalent to 10 Oreos. And people drink these certain drinks and think that they're healthy. And even things that are organic or gluten-free can have up to 10 times the amount of sugar as their counterparts, because they have to disguise the yuckiness in it and the yuck taste with sugar.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't personally relate to this conversation, because all I do is eat steak and drink whiskey like a real American man. So I don't know about any of these things basically you're talking about. That's all I need to survive, and we're good. Yeah, I keep it simple. I don't no processed food. I want my steak and just some fine whiskey, and we're good. I stay away from all the bad stuff.
Yeah. That's one thing that's hard for me not to stop eating is actually steak. I can't. I cook a very good steak, by the way. A very good steak. So.
All right, cool. What time am I going to be having this then tonight? Because I am actually very hungry right now.
As soon as it thaws out, I have the steaks in the freezer.
He is a pretty bomb cook.
No, this is unacceptable.
I cook it in my cast iron skillet because we don't have a grill at my apartment complex, but the way I cook it, it tastes like it's grilled. It tastes even better than Morton's. So I will take my Costco filet mignons over Morton's any day.
All right, well, I'm down to try that. We'll find out.
Yeah. She's a pretty bomb cook. So I had so much fun with you guys tonight on the Season 3 premiere for the What's Going On segment with Christina Renee and special guest NATHAN Martell. Do you guys have any final thoughts as we wrap up our time together and go into the next segment?
Nope. Just don't eat too much sugar so you don't get too fat.
Yeah, try to stick to at least half of a raw diet a day. Do half raw, I would say.
And see, I want you all to remember, what Nathan said is not a reflection of what I believe, because I don't use the word fat, okay? But that's on Nathan's own opinion, and so don't take it out of me or Christina Renee. Go and contact him on his page, because you obviously don't hear me use the word fat, okay? I don't use those kind of words. So. All right.
Fair enough.
Well, thank you guys, and you enjoy the rest of your night. Everyone, Nathan, tell everyone how they can tune into your Nathan Martell is Stupid podcast. It's
really simple. Go to NATHANMartellIsStupid.com, or you can find us on SoundCloud. That's the easiest way. Or youtube.com/Nathan Martell is stupid if you want to see the live recordings of anything. We are releasing new podcasts every single week, so you'll get new updated content all the time. And you can listen to my nonsense being spewed every week.
This portion of the Sade Champagne Show on GrindHard Radio has been sponsored by Ray Gonzalez, State Farm Agent. He is my agent and the first person I go to for any professional or personal insurance needs. I am always satisfied with his services and everything his agency provides. Ray takes the time and care to make sure that his customers get exactly what they want and need at the most affordable price for their budget. He is one of the most inspirational, efficient, and highly qualified people I have had the pleasure of working with. You can reach him at 805-240-3100. Once again, that's 805-240-3100. His website is sfteam1.com. That's sfteam1.com or sfteam1.com.
Hi, this is Melissa Joy Wood with the Living with Fearless Joy segment on the Sade Champagne Show, and you're listening on GrindHard Radio.
Welcome back to the Season 3 premiere of the Sade Champagne Show on GrindHard Radio. I have been listening to and playing the Walls Group in rotation on my radio shows for quite some time now. I don't remember exactly how I became aware of this stellar group, but I am forever grateful that I did. They are a family group, 2 brothers and 2 sisters from Texas, Alec, Aja, Rhea, and Daryl Walls. Daryl, a.k.a. Music City, is the oldest of the group and is one of my recent biggest musical influences. He and his siblings are a big reason why I'm confidently diving into the dreams and visions God has placed deep within my heart. When I found out that the Walls Group was coming to Los Angeles on their Latitude tour, I was overjoyed. My best friend and radio show's castmate, Veronica Esquivel Winters, and I have been looking forward to this for months, and we blocked off the entire day for this tremendous celebration. These Grammy-nominated Billboard charting gospel artists are signed to Kirk Franklin's For Your Soul Recordings in association with RCA Records and releasing their newest studio album this summer. They have hundreds of thousands of fans around the world with their videos garnering millions of views on social media. The venue was packed and full of anticipation and excitement for the heavenly night we were all about to enjoy together. The promotional posters were beautiful, and VIP t-shirts and entire experience were worth it. The group made every fan and supporter feel special, and you could tell they really cared about every single person. American gospel and contemporary Christian music singer Brian Courtney Wilson joined them on this date, and he definitely set the mood for the concert. He poured his heart out while encouraging the audience and speaking words of life over the Walls Group. As I was feeling the energy and love of God for myself, I felt the hope of God radiating in people's hearts throughout the venue and lifting up everyone within earshot. I took a mental note to go buy Brian's music on iTunes, add his songs in rotation to my radio shows, and invite him to be a celebrity guest for an upcoming episode. When the Walls Group stepped onto the stage, the energy in the room went from 100 to 1,000. The audience began to roar, and the group led us into a terrific set of dancing, singing, and fun. Their harmonies were crisp and smooth and perfectly in sync with one another. They have magnificent stamina, never missing a beat or a move. You can tell that they are having fun and enjoying themselves, but they make it seem easy and like they're breathing. Daryl is very sensitive to the needs of the audience, giving them all the fluid runs and riffs that he is known for and people enjoy from him. The group takes time for dance and praise breaks while still making sure they have time to perform the full set list they created. Each of the Walls Group members is known for specific things in addition to their group personality, and they make sure to give the audience a feel of what they love. Each one of them is able to shine bright and showcase the giftings that they exude while still complimenting one another. Their stage presence is evident, and you can feel the authenticity, strength, and compassion pouring from their beings. The audience is fully engaged from beginning to end. These are no beginners here. You can tell that they are experts and that they have been at this for many, many years. Since I've been listening to and playing their music in rotation on my shows, I was familiar with all the songs. They even performed some of my favorites, and every time I would turn around and look at Veronica with wide eyes and a big smile. They performed some of the new songs that will be on their upcoming album and a few remixes, and the crowd went wild every single time. Their dress attire was fitting for the Latitude Tour and showcased Daryl, Aja, Rhea, and Alex's unique style while still highlighting the group as a whole. I could go on and on and on, but I will say this. I have seen a myriad of artists perform live over the years, including Prince's Musicology Tour in 2004, and the Walls Group Latitude Tour is one of my top 3 favorite live tours I have ever gone to. Veronica and I left feeling greatly encouraged, empowered, and uplifted in our dreams, passions, and the love of God for us. I was inspired and began to see beautiful dreams of the near and distant future. The Walls Group increased the adoration that I already carried for them within my heart. I was honored to be able to get an exclusive behind-the-scenes interview with them after the concert. Get your tickets to the Walls Group Latitude Tour at thewallsgroup.org/tour. That's thewallsgroup.org/tour, and listen to my exclusive behind-the-scenes interview with them right now.
This is Sade Champagne here with GrindHard Radio. I just attended the Walls Group Latitude Tour in Los Angeles, and I am telling you, this was absolutely phenomenal. I am almost at a loss for words here. I'm going to give you guys my full review of the concert throughout this episode, so make sure you stay tuned. You guys know I went to see Prince's Musicology Tour, and this tour from the Walls Group is literally in my top 3 favorite tours of all time. And I do not play. And so it was absolutely phenomenal. I'm excited to be here with them. We have a behind-the-scenes interview right now. So how are you guys doing tonight?
We are great. God, Lord.
But it's okay. We all right.
Awesome. You guys were like dancing and singing and moving and just, it was literally like a full aerobics Zumbathon dance class.
Let me tell you, my body hurts like I've been doing Zumba for 3 days.
It felt like Zumba.
I just want you to know.
They my arms massage.
All right, so you guys kicked off your Latitude Tour in Bakersfield last night. Yeah. How did it go?
It was absolutely incredible, but I think LA was so much crazier. I do, but it was good last night. It was actually really dope. Like awesome. As far as kickoffs go, that was a kickoff, man. Yeah, it was a great kickoff, actually. Yeah, that was
awesome. This is a 2-part question. What is the most exciting thing planning and preparing for a tour, and what is the most challenging thing planning and preparing for a nationwide tour?
The exciting thing is, I think, you know, just the talks of it and, you know, all the preparation that goes into it. But I would say the most, you know, nerve-wracking part is the rehearsals. Yeah. You know, the rehearsals are dope. They're a great part of it. But actually getting there and doing it day in and day out, you know, it weighs on you. And, you know, you don't always want to give it 40,000% every time, but, you know, you need to. Because
how you do in there is how you perform on stage.
Yeah, it shows. So, like, we watched New Edition, that's what he said. It's like, yo, how you do it in here in rehearsal is how you're going to do it on stage.
Exactly. And you can tell that you guys give 100% in your rehearsals because literally when you came on the stage, you weren't running out of breath. You know, there's a lot of artists that I tend to see and I watch where they're literally like, okay, well then that shows your professionalism even more.
I was out of there. I died after the first 2 songs.
The only workout I get is getting up and going to the kitchen.
So what can your fans expect on this tour and also from your brand new music that's coming out?
Crazy. You ain't ready. That's what you can expect. You're not ready for the real.
You thought you liked the Latitude Tour. You ain't ready for this album. You thought you liked the Walls Group, but you ain't really. You gonna love us, maybe.
You might have liked it, but you gonna love this. You gonna love, not love, love, L-U-H.
You gonna talk about us like we your boyfriend.
Well, I can tell you, listeners, that I will be playing their music even more in rotation. And you know, you've been hearing them already throughout the seasons on the Sade Champagne Show and Spirit and Soul on GrindHard Radio. And so I'm looking forward to playing them even more.
Oh, whoa.
What are some words of wisdom that you all would give to some up-and-coming dreamers, some up-and-coming musical artists, especially ones who struggle with the fear of failure or the fear of rejection, so that's causing them to not move forward in their dreams?
Well, first, God hasn't given us a spirit of fear. He's given us the spirit of love and sound mind. That's first. Second of all, it's really hard. So don't come in here thinking that it's going to be super duper easy, because anything worth having is worth working for. Right. It's going to be hard. So failure is a stepping stone. Failure is a ladder.
Yeah.
You use your failures to build your success.
Right.
Failures, they humble you, and they, it's looking back like, yo, I remember when I almost gave up on that. When you reach the success that you have, and even when you reach success, you keep going. You never give up. You never stop. This is a process.
And sometimes when you fail and a door is closed, that's God closing that door. Like, you ain't need to be there in the first place. It might be something that looks good or something that sounds good, but at the end of the day, it might be something that's detrimental to your journey and it's detrimental to your gift. Also, be authentic.
Yeah.
Please, be yourself.
Yeah.
Stick to it.
Awesome. That was amazing. I use my platform a lot to be able to help kids and teens who have been bullied and who, especially with cyberbullying, and I'm sure you all can relate to that as well. And so what are some words of encouragement that you would give to kids and teens who are being bullied and they've been struggling with wanting to throw in the towel and give up on themselves in life? What are some words of encouragement you want to give to them?
Well, honestly, words hurt. I'm not going to sit there and pretend like sticks and stones don't feel like they break your bones. They hurt. Words, people are not nice. But the thing is, you got to learn how to love yourself. You got to learn how to care about yourself, and to know those things about yourself that people are going to say things about you your whole life. But you have to be mature enough. You have to love yourself and everything about yourself. The things that you think are wrong with you. So someone to say, hey man, your ear looks funny. I know that already. I like my ear. My ear is great, whether you like it or not. Cyberbullying. Block is your friend.
That's right.
Block
is your
and
friend.
go on with your life.
And it don't make you weak to block either.
Don't entertain. It don't make you cowardly. It makes you the bigger person.
Right.
Why waste your time? Why waste your 140 characters on somebody
you probably don't even know, trying to tear you down for no reason. Right. Just be confident in yourself. Be confident in who you are in God. Yeah. Right.
And know that you're not by yourself.
Right.
You're never by yourself at all. It feels like it. You're not by yourself.
Right.
There's a bunch of people ready to use their 140 characters for you too. Just add them. Add your friends. Add your mama, your brother, your sister. They'll help you fight if you want.
Right. If you don't want to fight, add your friends. Let them fight for you.
That's what we do. Our friends fight our battles.
They'll stand up for you. And then lastly, let everyone know how they can stay updated with your new music, how they can purchase tickets to the tour, because I'm going to be promoting it on the shows and my social media as well, because I'm telling you, when I believe in something in someone, I will support it 100%, and I will share it with everyone. So.
Well, you can follow us on Twitter at The Walls Group, on Instagram at The Walls Group, on YouTube at The Walls Group, and we'll post the updates regularly there. We try
on Facebook.
On Facebook at The Walls Group, and you can go.
Facebook is best, and
Instagram.
the website is best. www.thewallsgroup.org/tour.
Yes.
Because that's where you can find out what cities are there and all that good stuff, and you can find out when the album comes out, because it's coming.
Awesome. That was the Walls Group on the Sade Champagne Show on GrindHard Radio. And you guys need to make sure you stay updated with them and support them. Go to thewallsgroup.org/tour to support this amazing tour.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next song of the night is the Walls Group with Freedom. You're listening to the Season 3 premiere of the Sade Champagne Show on GrindHard Radio.
I'm Kevin Miller, and I believe every person deserves to feel great in their body and their life. I'm creating a community of people committed to empowering each other to achieve our dreams. Before I found my purpose, I had lost all hope of ever permanently getting back to a healthy weight. I'd tried every plan. I was stressed and overwhelmed about life and the future. Then I was introduced to a clinically proven, all-natural cleansing and nutrition system by my daughter. It's convenient, satisfying, and affordable. I released over 100 pounds and absolutely know I will reach my goal weight. I'm excited about life again, can play with my grandkids, and do anything I desire without any limitations. If any of this interests you, please call me at 805-218-7146, 805-218-7146. Have a great day.
Hi, you're tuned in to GrindHard Radio. This is Ayokunle Falomo from the Sharing Your Story segment on the Sade Champagne Show. Keep listening.
You're listening to the Season 3 premiere of the Sade Champagne Show on GrindHard Radio. It's time to get to know our new castmates a little better. Let's start with Michelle Morgan. Michelle is a published author of How Youth Triumph in Sports, Tools That Create a Triumphant Life, a motivational speaker, and sports transformational coach. Her new segment is titled Mind Right, Game Tight. Hi, Michelle. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you, Sade.
We are so glad to have you on Season 3 of the Sade Champagne Show, starting with episode 36.
I'm great. I'm happy to be on it as well. Looking forward to it. I've listened to your show before, and I know all the great things that you talk about and the inspiration that you give with not just you but the other guests that you have on the show. So I look forward to being a host and having a segment on it as well.
What can our listeners expect from you and your segment this upcoming season?
Well, from this segment that I'm going to have with Mind Right, Game Tight, my purpose is to teach the listeners and, have guests on that use their mental strengths that they've used through sports. So because I have a sports background and the book that I've written for youth is on sports, but most importantly for me, it's all about your mental state, like how strong you are mentally, and to build those mental muscles in different areas to bring you to greatness in any area of your life. So, and I use that in terms of, even though we play sports, those are the tools that we're still using to be great in sports, but to be great in any area in life, because we're going to spend more time in life than we are in sports.
That's really, really good. I'm looking forward to that. And what is the message that you want to get across to the audience?
Just believing in yourself and knowing that, I know it sounds cliche, but it is to always believe in yourself and never give up, and to really, truly believe in who you are and whatever your goals are, and knowing that the mental support that you have, not just within yourself, is important, but also with those who you surround yourself is important, because although we have a goal that might be an individual goal that you may want to attain, we still need the support of others to uplift us when maybe we feel down, and those people recognizing our strengths as well to give us that reboost of energy or confidence, as a reminder that, we all are great in our own ways. We all have the gifts, the perfect gifts that live inside of us already. It's just about nurturing those and watering them and continue to take action to actually see that seed bloom into fruition and seeing your goals achieved.
Mm-hmm. That's really powerful. And so I would like for you to also share with our listeners about your brand new book that's out, How Youth Triumph in Sports, Tools That Create a Triumphant Life, and how this ties into your Mind Right, Game Tight segment.
Okay, so with How Youth Triumph in Sports, I wrote that book because I wanted to share the things that I've learned through playing sports. I earned a basketball scholarship, so I wanted to show the traits that it takes just to be great in sports, because there's so many people who are involved in sports, and no matter what area it is or, what the age we are, we're involved in something. And the most important thing is that although there's skills attached to being great in sports, it's most importantly what makes great athletes is our mindset. Being able to overcome adversity and obstacles and push ourselves to the next level and not being stagnant just when we reach a certain level of greatness in the sport, because there's always so much to learn and grow. And through different chapters that I talk about with, being accountable and being coachable, long-term, short-term goals, also with believing in yourself and knowing your self-worth and self-value. And to me, the self-worth and self-value is the most important thing. So my business the foundation is on self-worth, because you have to love yourself in order to believe in yourself. You have to love yourself in order to, set that goal in mind and be accountable and say, what, how can I be better? It's not the ref's fault. It's not the coaches. It's not teachers. It's not parents. It's not my teammates. It's me. Like, I have to be able to reflect and look in the mirror and say, how can I improve myself in any area? And so what that is, and the reason that I wrote that book and how it transfers over to the segment, is that I believe that your mental mindset is what takes you to those next levels, and believing yourself is what takes you to those next levels, and being accountable for your action is what takes you to those next levels. And so I wrote this for young people because I feel like, I love working with youth, and I have a passion for working with youth, in that, we put an emphasis on education, but there has to be an emphasis also on the mindset as well, and truly loving yourself and understanding what that means, so that, we teach our youth to understand, like, okay, if you love yourself, is this a good decision to make? Does this decision reflect how you feel about yourself? And understanding that the decisions and actions we take are a reflection of how we see ourselves. So in order to be better, we can understand, like, the actions and the decisions I make. I want to be a better person. Like, I do want to achieve that goal. So if I want to play sports in school, I know I have to do well in my classes to do that as well. So if I don't study for this particular subject, test, whatever it may be, does that really show that I want to continue to play, this sport while I'm in high school and really excel at it, because I have to maintain, a GPA, or depending on what the standards are at, each school or club program, whatever it may be. So it's just understanding, your mind is so valuable. Your mindset really makes your game tight. Because when my mind's right, my game's tight. If I'm in the game and I'm still confident about myself and, I am accountable for when things might happen wrong, I can look at it and not let it overwhelm me and be frustrated and then make another mistake. I can say, you know what, this is what I need to do to make that situation better. And so that in turn improves making your game tight. And your game tight can be in any area of your life. It doesn't have to just be sports, because your game tight, can be just with how you hang out with your friends and the things that you accomplish, like in your career or anything. So that's what's most important, and how the book ties into life in general. And that's one of the reasons I wrote that, because I didn't see that there was a life skills book written for young people. A lot of things are written for adults, and it's like, well, what if we cut the learning curve in half and give that information to our young people?
Definitely. And let everyone know where they can purchase your book.
My book can be purchased on Amazon, and it's also available on Kindle. You can just type in How Youth Triumph in Sports, Tools That Can Create a Triumphant Life, or you can also purchase it through my website, which is www.vidaesoro.com, which is V as in victory, IDAESORO.com.
Wonderful. And what's one practical tip that someone listening can take away right now?
Just to believe in yourself and have confidence in yourself. And if you feel that you're afraid to try something different, just go for it. Even right now with me just talking to you and being on the radio, sometimes it's a new experience, but it's knowing that if you're asked to be present in that moment, know that it's for a reason and that you're able to be successful in that present moment, or you wouldn't have been put in it. So it's just knowing, like, okay, if I'm asked to be here, if I'm asked to do something in a positive light, of course, know that you can put fear into the background and say, I was asked to come on the radio and speak, and knowing that I was put in this present moment because there is something that I can give to not only myself but to others who are listening. And it's all about making that difference with one person. And as you continue to do something, continue to try and practice anything, you will begin to develop your skills, and that's what's most important. And never let fear hold you back. Always know, okay, if I'm asked to do this, if a coach asked me to do this, it's because they believe I can do it. So go ahead and try, and you'll be surprised at things that you're capable of doing.
And how can people stay updated with you and your happenings? How can they book you for workshops, speaking engagements, book signings?
You can contact me via my website, www.vidaesoro.com. My social media is Vida S. Oro as well, so it's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, VIDAESORO.
Great. Well, I'm really looking forward to Michelle's new segment, Mind Right, Game Tight. She's one of the most motivational people I know, and I always tell her every chance that I get that she has a fire in her eyes that just won't quit. And so I'm ecstatic that you all are going to be able to experience the wealth that she carries within, and I know that this is going to be a blessing for her as well. And so we thank you so much, Michelle, and we're looking forward to your segment on the show this new season.
Thank you, Sade. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it as well.
Our other new castmates this season are models, actresses, hosts, and content creators Ebony and Erica from Tulala1 on YouTube. Their segment is titled Hairy Situations. Hi, Ebony and Erica. How are you ladies doing?
Hi. We're doing good.
Awesome. We are so excited to have you as castmates on the Season 3 of Sade Champagne Show on GrindHard Radio.
Oh, we're excited as well. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, I have to tell to our listeners, these ladies are two of my biggest inspirations through YouTube and through hair care, beauty, fitness, and just lifestyle content. And they have been a wonderful influence to me in my hair care and how my hair is flourishing and just being able to see positive and real content on YouTube. And so I'm excited for you all to get to know them throughout this season and to be able to join them in this brand new adventure.
Oh, that's so sweet of you. I'm glad because, we have our, like you said, our main platform on YouTube, but it's good to extend to, your radio segment and everything and other audiences. So we're glad to share some. And we're glad we're an inspiration to you as well. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. So what can our listeners expect from you ladies in your segment, Hairy Situations, this upcoming season?
Well, it came about because, we wanted to give short, quick, to-the-point advice on, anything about hair and stuff. So, I mean, it's, hair is like a hot topic now, especially in society, like texture, what's wrong with straight hair, what's wrong with curls, coils, kinky hair, whatever and stuff. So, I mean, we wanted to kind of do a tag team type, just kind of bounce off each other, giving advice and just creating a discussion about hair in general and everything. So,
definitely. And also, to my understanding, you ladies are going to be taking questions from your YouTubers and from listeners throughout the season that they'll be able to send in to you or send in throughout the show, and you'll be taking their questions too, correct?
Well, yeah, we're actually going to open up and ask them on a few of our videos to give us some ideas for topics and everything. Because we have some topics already planned, but we kind of want to hear what they would like to hear, so they can tune in and everything. So we'll definitely get input from them as well. A lot of our viewers have left comments under our videos that we haven't gotten to yet, so we wanted to kind of address those. They're actually some really good questions, so we may address those as well in the segment.
Definitely. And the cool thing, listeners, is that Ebony and Erica actually live what they preach. So when you see them, they have amazing, beautiful, healthy, long, thick hair, and they're in great shape, and have smooth skin as well, are able to work through breakouts and all those things. So I feel like they're people that you can be able to learn from, because it's not just us bringing someone on here who does not have healthy hair, who does not care about fitness or health. So it's like they're actually living what you're going to be able to experience with them on the season.
Yeah, our hair care is not really, always really, orthodox. We wash our hair once a month, and all that stuff. Our routine's very low maintenance. Yeah. So, I mean, so it's good to kind of share and, kind of give our take on what we do. And then whoever listens can, take away from it whatever they like, but, just create their own situation with their hair situation.
Exactly. And I feel like that's exactly what you do, is you give so many different great tips, and you give people so much knowledge, and you go into the actual history of hair and products and certain things. And so I feel like people are able to take away from that, and that's what I've been able to do in creating my own hair care regimen for fit chicks with relaxed hair who don't want to cut their hair and, wear it super short, and who don't want to wear braids or extensions all the time. And so I feel like your segment is going to be great for that.
Yes, I feel that we definitely want to be informative, like you said, and then, have people take away what they want from it. Yeah, and as a subset to that, we may, even do a video, corresponding with the segment, because it's only 10 minutes, we may do a video so people can get a visual of, the tips and everything, discussions and stuff. So, that's still in the back of our minds about doing a video as well. So, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a brilliant idea, because with my Spirit and Soul radio show that just wrapped up our first season, I also had a video that would go along every week with each episode, and people do tend to connect with that because, people learn and connect in so many different ways. So I feel like the audio and the visual do work, and it's great that you ladies are already on YouTube because people have a visual connection with you as well, and so now they're going to be able to have audio connection. So they definitely go hand in hand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It'll be fun.
What is the message that you want to get across to the audience through your segment?
You know what? It's a lot of our advice and discussion on here, it'll be lighthearted, then we'll get into deep conversations about it. But, it's your hair, it's your journey. We don't really get too opinionated when it comes to hair because it's, like I said, it's your hair. And stuff,
yeah.
So obviously going to get tips and stuff, but it's from our experience and what you want to do with that. You know, it's up to you and stuff. So, but we also want people when they listen to be like, you know, feel more confident and with their routine and everything with their hair and just rock it however they want. I mean, don't listen to, you know, what people think hair should be like in the society and stuff, saying hair should be like, yeah, we have our hair relaxed, but then there are people that wear their hair in their natural textures, and we want people to be comfortable with that and, you know, just proud and just rock it. So that's why, you know, we're kind of excited about this because we get to, you know, share different aspects of hair and everything and let people know that there are different ways, you know, you can take care of your hair. It's not just relaxed.
And so what's one important hair care or beauty tip that someone listening can take away right now?
Oh, so like, go ahead. Well, when it comes to heat. Yeah, you say it. Well, I was going to say, well, this is like a reigning theme on our channel and stuff, but obviously, like, less heat is great for your hair and everything. Like, you know, less is more. Less manipulation, less messing with your hair. More your hair will flourish and, you know, look nice, whatever. Less heat, you know, you don't want to put a lot of heat to your hair because it causes breakage and everything. So that's like a reigning theme on our channel. So I just want to kind of shout that out, you know, to here now. And then what I'm doing currently, I mentioned it several times before on my channel, I'm drinking a lot more water, especially with summertime coming up, you know, the sun and all that stuff's going to be on your hair and drying it out. But I am really getting into drinking a lot more water. Some people underestimate drinking water. Yeah, because they think about products going on top of your hair. But you know what? Really, your hair will flourish what you put in your body. Even eating right, definitely want to do a segment on that and a video on the types of foods that will really get your hair to get right and tight. But, yeah, water is definitely stuff. So we are, especially me, I'm really getting into that. I've got, like, 3 water bottles around me as we speak.
Definitely. Those are really important tips. And so, lastly, how can people stay updated with you ladies and your happenings? And how can they book you for any modeling, any acting, hosting, content, you know, collaboration videos, all that fun stuff?
Oh, we are on social media, 2LL1 on Instagram, 2LL1 on Twitter, also our YouTube. And then to get in contact with us, our email is Ebony, EBONI, Erica, ERICA, Davis @gmail.com. So EbonyEricaDavis@gmail.com.
All right, great. Well, I'm looking forward to having these beautiful ladies on the show this new season for their amazing segment, Hairy Situations. They are just as beautiful on the inside as they are on the outside, and so I'm excited for you all to get to know them and for some amazing connections to take place.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited, too. It's going to be a good time. Yeah.
Thank you to everyone who tuned in tonight to the Season 3 premiere of the Sade Champagne Show on GrindHard Radio. Thank you for downloading, subscribing, and sharing my radio show. Next week, our special guest includes published author, motivational speaker, and professional model Styx, and it's also my World of Dance special. Styx is currently starring in a nationwide Dick's Sporting Goods commercial and encouraging thousands of people worldwide via her This Can Help Someone Instagram and in-person events. While attending World of Dance in Los Angeles recently, I got exclusive celebrity interviews with Renji, Pink Lemonade, Young Sir, Chris Carrillo, and top 5 finalists from So You Think You Can Dance, The Next Generation, Tahani Anderson. Thanks to GrindHard Radio for the opportunity to create my own radio show. Thanks to Travis Miller for creating and producing my theme song, and to Scott Swish for mixing the song. Thanks to Kata Mafioso for helping me to create our new radio drop. Thanks to my celebrity guests, Rosie Rivera and the Walls Group. Thanks to my special guests, NATHAN MARTELL, and castmates Christina Renee, Michelle Morgan, and Ebony and Erica from 2LL1 on YouTube. Our final song of the night is Nas with I Can. I'm Sade Champagne, and thanks for listening to my radio show. I don't ever take your support for granted. We'll see you next Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific Time right here on GrindHard Radio.
Where dreamers dream, where dreams come true. There's no limit to what we can do. Turning no's to yes, leaving doubt behind, releasing the stress. We were born to shine.